Welcome to our webinar, the first of what seems like it's going to be many. So forgive me, I missed the first part, but Accelerate, we're an inbound lead generation agency based on Pixlr that covers SEO, content marketing, digital PR, and also analytics. We work with a whole host of clients, some being Saas and others being household names. We typically position ourselves as a Saas inbound lead gen marketing agency. So these are some of our lovely clients, which you can see on the screen. So some of those are universities, automotive, also SaaS companies, National Geographic. So we work with a whole host of different companies. We've got a great panel with two of our lovely clients working with us on this panel as well. So we've got Zhao and also Sam, which I think Phil very kindly introduced. So if you have any questions, there is a way to do the Q&A. So feel free to ping across questions, and hopefully if we've got time, we'll get to them at the end. So Nick is our co-founder and search director, so he'll be presenting how to rapidly scale your marketing for SaaS companies. He's got over 12 years experience in the industry, and he's our SEO expert. He does articles on HubSpot, SEMrush, so he's a published author as well. Plus, Phil and Nick also have a book which we will be giving away for free. To get yourself, as you can see, Nick very kindly showing the book there. To get in with a chance of getting yourself a book, all you have to do is post something about us on LinkedIn or any social media, and then send us a link to it, and then we'll send you either a hard copy or an e-copy. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoy. Over to Nick to present.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming along. What we're going to cover today is how to create an optimized, fast and secure website. We're going to cover customer personas and customer interviews. We are going to cover content marketing strategy from keyword selection through to awesome content creation. We are going to cover a couple of Accelerate case studies, so stuff we've done for ourselves. And we are going to cover how to consistently get guest posts from sites like HubSpot that boost your traffic, search results, and get you more traffic. Okay, first things first. I guess most of you hopefully understand what a CMS, content management system, is. It's basically where you host your websites. So what you're looking for ideally is a CMS which has low development costs and that's easy to manage. So for example, the entire World Wide Web, it's probably over 60% now of the entire World Wide Web is actually on WordPress, with other ones like Joomla, Drupal, Magento and Blogger are the next biggest platform. What you want to do is avoid a CMS that is a custom CMS that kind of ties you into a development agency. So you can only, if you want to make minor changes, it costs you hundreds of pounds and takes like weeks to get done. You want to have a CMS where you can easily move from web development company to company. You can just hire your own developers and so on and so forth. So obviously for a brochure site, which isn't that complicated, we'd always highly recommend WordPress. Okay, the next thing. Site speed of a website. Basically, a lot of you have probably been on a website. It takes like 7 or 8 seconds to load. If you're on a mobile, it's incredibly frustrating and you just tend to bounce off. This is the case. So this is why site speed is really, really critical. So if we've got here the graph we're going, so bounce rate compared to page load time in seconds, it increases quite substantially the longer the page takes to load. But also it's a major SEO ranking factor. So really, really important to get your site speed as fast as possible. So I'm going to cover here. This is a great tool which we use all the time. It's free as well, which is even better. And it's called GT Metrics. GT Metrics has some really cool functionality. It basically, we're looking here, it's not showing us any particular big files, it's actually our actual website. But what you can do is if you click on the box here on GTmetrix, it can show you the biggest files straight away. A lot of the time, this will be images which can be, so I've seen websites which are 2-3 gigabytes in size, and that will add like 2 to 3 seconds to your actual page speed load time. Whereas that image could actually be 100 kilobytes, 20 or 30 times smaller, and have exactly the same look, feel, and so on stuff on the website. So it's really, really important to optimize all your images on the website and make sure everything you can do possible to get your website loading as fast as possible. So there are lots and lots of tools out there. This one, which we've used quite a bit, is called Pixlr. There are quite a lot on WordPress. There's lots of image resizing plugin tools which can do it automatically for you. And generally our preference would be something like WebP or JPEG. But it's obviously really important to use tools like GTmetrix to work out what are heavy images whenever you're making images for a website. Always put down criteria of what you actually want and making sure they're as small as possible, but obviously without damaging the appearance. It can be fairly easy to do, it just takes a bit of hard work, a bit of work and a bit of practice. Okay, next really important thing is adding a CDN to your site. Content Delivery Network stores cached versions of your website all around the world. A lot of you probably would have heard of Cloudflare, CloudFront. These are really big. These are sort of probably the two of the biggest in the world. Where it does it hosts it in the cloud, a lot of your website, so it can just be delivered so much faster to people. When it says bandwidth, it says on your actual on your website itself. And again, it really helps with the load times. And a lot of them are free. Cloudflare do a free version. They're not expensive for the extra bit of page speed, which will improve your bounce rate, conversion rate, and SEO. This is a more advanced technique. It's called Inline and Deferring Css. What this means is when you load a web page, some pages can be 5 or 6 pages long. So all you need to load on the web page when you first see it is what you're actually seeing. Kind of makes sense. But you don't need to know everything else which you have to scroll down to see. So this is inline in deferring the styles and the look of the website. So only just loading the scripts, the CSS, what you need to when you first see the website. So everything else can be loaded afterwards. This will increase the speed of the website. This can be quite complicated on a lot of websites, but if you're using something like WordPress, there's a plugin called WP Rocket, which actually does this for you. So it actually makes it much easier. You just press a couple of buttons on it and just a couple of tick boxes, and it does it straight away. Really good for page speed. Prefetching DNS. This is an interesting one. This is happened a couple of years ago. What this allows is to load external scripts on your website. So if you're moving from page to page to page on your website, it will allow you to, sorry, 1 second. If you're loading pages on your website, it will allow you to move from page to page much faster. So it really helps with, again, bounce rates on websites. So if it's one page taking forever to load, then people will just bounce off that website. But not that simple to do. Not that simple to do on you can do it via Tag Manager on a website which isn't WordPress. But again, if you're on WordPress, there is a plugin called WP Rocket for WordPress, which has a function for this. Again, it's just putting in the scripts you want to load, and it does it straight away for you. So very easy on WordPress. A little bit more complicated on other ones. You need a bit of tag management experience, but really good as well for increasing internal page speed. Okay, this is quite a complicated one. This is adding your assets on a subdomain. So assets, I mean, like mainly your images and videos. This is where you have images.accelerateagency.com, and you're loading all your images from a separate subdomain. It's pretty complicated to do, but you can load, for example, a 4 or 5 gigabyte video literally in a couple of seconds. So, but normally if it was just a normal website, that would take about 7 or 8 seconds. So again, this is another technique to really increase the page speed over the website. Very useful, but again, quite an advanced technique. Does take quite a lot of development time. Another great one. I suppose most of you probably have heard of Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is actually a Google tool. Actually, Phil, who's actually on the panel with me, is actually an expert in this. What this allows you to do is put all the scripts, so your Facebook scripts, your LinkedIn scripts, your analytics scripts, all into one place. And you can pause them when you're not using them. It just creates a container for everything. So it's much, much easier to keep everything organized, but also to remove, pause, or delete any which you aren't using, which conversion scripts and pixels actually do take a massive load on page speed, and they can, add quite a few seconds onto page speed as well. They are very useful, but again, it can damage your page speed, which affects your bounce rate, SEO, and conversion rate. Okay, one thing about WordPress, I am writing about it a little bit, but you have to be very careful because it's the biggest CMS in the world. Everyone tries to hack into it, basically. And so you get a warning like this from Google. They will give you a quite not very attractive message like this on your website. So if anyone goes to their website, they will straight away bounce off. So you have to be very careful of hackers and so on and so forth, and people trying to break into it. But we've been using this for about 4 or 5 years now. A system called SecureNet. It updates your software and your CMS regularly, keeps all plugins up to date, scans your website from 30 minutes, 6 hours, or 12 hours a day. And we're not affiliated with them or anything, but we use it for all our clients, and it just protects the website and stops any hackers and just gives you that extra security. Okay, now we're kind of moving on to the content marketing side of the presentation. Okay, so what is content marketing? A lot of people have ideas. At the end of the day, content marketing is when you create useful resources for your ideal customers. You then market this through social media, email, and on other sites to increase the number of people who see the content. Simple enough. Another thing we've been using is how to use your customer personas. We want people to move beyond customer personas to identify specific individuals. So who you're targeting within that company. So why should you target those people? Why should you write for those people? You need to write a specific way to appeal to your buyer personas, your customer personas. A lot of time for self-service SaaS, so people that don't have a sales team. We want to use online advertising to target people who fit in the right customer personas. Hold events like this webinar, like a tech festival we held before, that fit your ideal customers, market to them via LinkedIn, via the content you produce, and obviously get them to sign up for these events. One really important thing we do is we make sure all our customers do customer interviews. So why do customer interviews? Really just, it's to identify topics they'd be interested in. What do your customers read about? What do they like? What interests them? You want to discover sites for popular guest post campaign. For example, if you're an IT service provider, you want to reach people, say you want to buy IT managers, your target audience, it would be a bit pointless writing for them on a marketing site. You want to be having them on IT sites. One that shows authority, but also it will reach and engage that audience. Understand the tone of voice as well. That's really important. So, you don't want to be writing for someone who's 18 to 25, whereas your buyer is 40s or 50s. What do they like to consume? Do they like videos? Do they like articles? Do they like podcasts, webinars? Also interviewing them when they've signed up. Why someone signed up for service, but also one of the most important ones is why they decided to leave and or not sign up. That's really important. So if they decide to leave you, they're unhappy, why are they unhappy? Did the service not do everything they wanted to do? And first of all, there's also if someone went to a competitor. That's a great one as well. Why did they choose that competitor? Was it pricing? Was it features? So on and so forth. All really good stuff to cover. Sorry. And what are the pain points they're looking to address? And also, what is their decision making and buying process? So really important to just understand who you're writing for, why you're writing for them, and who you're trying to reach. Okay, so it's about, so you want to create content that educates the customer. So why should they use your tool? What are the best features? This can obviously help with retention and long-term value. If you basically don't want someone who signs up just for a month and then leaves straight after, it's not a result. The cost of acquisition of that customer may be £600-700, whereas they've only spent £100 with you. So it's not really, it's just a way of losing money. So it's trying to keep them for a long term and looking at retention and lifetime value. Okay, this is something we use quite a bit, which is the content marketing flywheel. So Prefetch here is obviously doing your keyword research, understanding a very base here, starting here, and industry intuition, know what you know about the industry, what appeals to people, and so on and so forth. Then it's a case of publishing the content on your website initially, and you push this out to emails and subscribers. You promote this on your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook, so on and so forth. And that's, but we've also added an extra thing here, which actually we need to add it to the slides later on. Then we'd actually earn links and amplification. When we go here, we'd actually do keyword research. We'd look for guest post opportunities to write for. And what we'd do is we'd do keyword research for those guest post opportunities. Then we'd publish the content, push that out to emails and subscribers, promote that via social amplification, social media channels, and that would earn links back to your existing previous content. But then the whole way of doing this, it sort of grows your social, your email following, which then in turn grows your domain authority. And from this you earn search and referral traffic, and then you start ranking for competitive keywords, which drives in your long-term, it gives you the long-term value. Okay, there is some, how do you choose the right keyword? So we're starting at the very start of content flywheel. There are some great free tools out there. Actually, Keywords Everywhere just started charging, but it costs you $10 for about 100,000 keywords, which literally we use it all the time. And it takes us about 3 months to actually get through that $10. There's a Google Keywords Planner tool. There's Ahrefs, which is a paid tool. There's Moz, which has some good insights, and SEMrush, but obviously my preference out of these are Keywords Everywhere and Ahrefs. Keywords Everywhere just kind of shows you, even in your, when you're searching for a keyword in Google, it will show you all the details of that keyword and list of alternative keywords as well. So really, really useful tool. So you check out, I'm giving an example here. So you check out what's ranking at the moment. So for example, this example, which I'm going to cover later, is for a keyword Google Analytics tools. So check the SERPs. What is actually ranking at the moment? So for example, you're writing about, give an example, you're writing about Google Analytics tools. What is ranking for that tool? Is it article, or is it a sales page? What is ranking? Is it a listicle? Are they all authority sites? So are you competing with the likes of HubSpot? Are you competing with the likes of the BBC? What is your chances of actually being able to rank for that, to actually drive some traffic to your website? What is the search intent? Is it a case of, are people just searching on Google and they are just finding the information they need on Google and they're not actually clicking through to any website? That's really important. So you don't want to put your effort to getting to number 1, number 2, number 3 in the SERPs, and actually no one actually clicks through to your website. And obviously then you look at the backlink profile. So why are they ranking? Are they ranking, have they got like 1,000 different domains pointing to that one particular page, or have they got one? So then you can see how difficult it is for you to actually compete there and actually get to the top of the SERPs to actually drive some real traffic to your website. Writing content. Okay, again, covering keyword intent, really important. Review the content from your competition. So look at the top 10 results. Then obviously cross-reference that with how many backlinks it's got. Your content should be the best out there. So the general rule of thumb would be 2 to 5 times better, 2 to 5 times longer as well. So for example, if your competitor's got a 1,000-word article, you should really do 2.5, 3, 4,000-word article. And obviously make sure it's well written. But also make sure it reflects your customer persona, demographics, and interests. Break up the article. Always use lots of images as well within an article. So you want to make sure it's really engaging. So you just don't want a massive block of text, like a massive paragraphs. You want to break it up with images. And so you've got to think that we're writing content, you always write content for someone on a mobile device. So it's broken up, lots of images, no big paragraphs. Write very, very high quality content. This is important. So you've got to use 2 people to write the content. So use a writer and then an editor, and then you check it yourself. I can't actually highlight that enough. Really, really important. So you have to make sure it's been checked and checked before it goes up to the website. But people who are very experienced as well, writers and editors. Okay, I'm giving a Ring Central example here. Okay, include your keywords in the meta headline and meta description. So I've got an example here of Ring Central. We've actually changed this because user intent was slightly different, but it kind of stands out. So UK's #1 business VoIP provider, top quality from $7.99. Actually, this ranks, I think, #1, 2 for VoIP and #1 now for VoIP phone system. But we have changed the meta title slightly because with this one, Google basically, the actual search intent for this one was more information. So we changed it to what is VoIP, definitive guide to VoIP phone systems, which now that's why it's become #1, 2 on VoIP and #1 on VoIP phone system. And this is another one for client, which is also ranking, I think, #1 for online booking system. And we just said #1 online booking system and appointment software. As you see here, it's also got some, it stands out, so it's 5 out of 5 stars. UK's online booking system to manage your bookings, appointment schedules. But also, one interesting thing about this, it also ranks for lots of different keywords as well. So online appointment software, booking system, online booking software as well. It all ranks very highly in the top 1 or 2 for all lots of different keywords. So we're getting quite a lot in there. And it also just make it stand out, make people want to click on it. So if you can get star ratings, great. If you can get lots more descriptions as well, lots of FAQs as well, really good. Write for your user, not for Google. This is really important. So you've done all the custom personas. You want to be writing for that user. So you want to fit that demographic perfectly. But saying that, you want to make sure you're using the right keywords in your URL. You don't want to be writing, I don't know, article 2020 in the URL, because you want to try and republish that the next year. So in 3 or 4 years' time, that will look quite outdated. So you want to just have the keywords you want to rank for in the URL, but avoid things like dates at all costs. Insert the keyword in the headline. That's very important. Obviously look at the user intent. Use the keyword in subheadlines as well. So always make sure you plan out based on keywords what your subheadline should be. And every 3 to 5 paragraphs, add the keywords. So generally, it's about 1% of the time you should use that keyword in your content, and include it, make sure you include it in the metadata. I'll give you an example here, VoIP online booking system as well. Okay, brilliant. Now we're going to move on to guest posting. Okay, why should you guest post on authority sites? Well, writing a guest post on authority sites is great for your branding. So you can have on your website, for example, as seen by when used in presentations. Content created for a high authority blog, it's more likely to result in referral traffic as well. So if you put the link, generally we'd recommend in the top 100 words, more of a call to action. And people are more likely to, when they're reading that blog, to click through to your website. The main thing here is number 3, which is high authority do follow backlinks. So the article will be really useful for, to actually drive some initial branding awareness, but the long-term benefits are the SEO benefits, which are high authority do follow backlinks. Also, obviously, we wrote an article for HubSpot recently, and someone wanted to partner with us and even give us some funding as well. And it also increased the organic traffic to that page on your website, and you can refer clients and fellow guest posters, digital networking, to people like HubSpot and so on, and obviously get them post on there, and they will in turn refer you. Okay, I'm going to quickly cover a couple of Accelerate campaigns we've done recently. So one's a definitive guide to the average cost of SEO services in the UK, and one is top 39 analytics tools recommended by GA experts. The cost of SEO campaign, so if you Google cost of SEO, how much does SEO cost UK, how much does SEO cost, we should be there at 1 or 2 position in Google. We built 25 backlinks to this article from sites like HubSpot, Mailshake, My News Desk, and SEMrush. And this has basically increased the value of this page to £2,500 a month. So this is a HubSpot article published last year. So how growing SMB avoids common service pitfalls. So why should we, so we got the article in HubSpot. We want to basically create a link, anchor text, which is some keywords you have in the article, which then link back to your website and the web page you want to rank. So one great way of doing it is using your Google Search Console. So for example here, I've actually got that average cost of SEO page, looked at the last 3 months, and I'm looking at what impressions it's getting, where it's ranking, and what keywords, most importantly, it's ranking for. So try to link to a page you want to rank for. So here I've got value of SEO is so relative on HubSpot. And this obviously links to this page here. And that's a direct link from HubSpot. This is why it's ranking number 1 to 2 position for most of its keywords. So why have a guest post again? I'm covering this again. So branding as featured on HubSpot, increase awareness and expertise. You can use it in presentations as well. Referral traffic, we got this sent out on HubSpot's email list, which is hundreds of thousands. Social following, we increased our social following. We had very high authority backlinks from HubSpot. Our actual website went up 2 points on Moz as well, just by having this backlink from HubSpot. Someone wanted to invest and partner with us, and increased organic traffic to this target page on our website by 20 to 30%. And we've actually been referring clients as well to HubSpot. And we've had quite a lot now. Okay. This is quickly a guest posting link building guide, how to choose sites to guest post on, how to connect with the right people. For some, email will not be enough, and LinkedIn approach as well. So 5 key guest posting stats. We're looking at domain authority 50 plus, which is Moz, monthly traffic Ahrefs, which is 5,000 plus, trust flow 25, which is majestic ranking, and check niche relevant. Is it related to? So are you a telecom site writing on a website about vegans? Probably it's not going to really work really, and Google's going to see that, and it's not really going to give you any authority. So look at relevancy, really important. We use Ahrefs a lot. We filter the domains by authority. We use one page per domain, filter by language, filter by first published. So what we're doing here is we're going onto Ahrefs and we're typing in this example, accounting software. You find all the articles written about accounting software in the last 12 months. And you want to filter this list down, and you want to focus on high authority websites to actually reach out to. So as you see here, accounting software, high authority in the last 12 months in English, and one page to domain. What this gives you helps you build a big list of really good quality, high authority websites, which then you should outreach to. We use Majestic to filter for relevancy. Like for example, I'm using here the example 0 in this campaign, which is ranks #1 for accounting software. So with this, we look at what links it's got to it, like business, financial services, business accounting, business, and business, small business, which are all links it has coming to its site, which are really relevant. So these are the sort of websites you want to find on Majestic. So to increase that relevancy, so that list of 2,000, you'll probably refine it down to a list of about 200 to 300. So yeah, export data, import them all into Majestic, remove low quality domains which don't hit all those stats. How do you find the email addresses? Okay, so we use tools like Hunter. We've actually just started a new tool called Snov. This finds all the domains that you are targeting, but it's also really important to verify they are the correct emails and they do work, because you don't want to get your email account blocked or seen as a spammy email address. So always verify the email. It's a really important step. So make sure you target the right person in the company. It's pointless targeting, I don't know, head of IT, trying to get a guest post on someone's site. So you're looking for people in order, like managing editor, staff writers, probably secondary. The editors generally would be the first person you want to reach out to in a company to make sure you're all hitting the right person. How to run an outreach campaign. So you've moved on to a stage of actually finding the list, building the list. Now you want to run an outreach campaign. We use a tool called Pitchbox. So this does a lot of the work for you. So you create your first template email, then you create a follow-up, and then if you don't get a response to the first person you're targeting, then you follow up and go to the next person. And we always reject anyone that asks for money, because if they're asking for money, they would asking a lot of people for money, and they're more likely to be penalized by Google. And if someone gets penalized by Google, then it's likely anyone that they've got links going out to will also get penalized by Google. So you've got to be really careful. So a quick overview of the campaign. Use Ahrefs to find your initial list. Look at authority and traffic. Check relevancy and trust on Majestic. Find emails using Hunter or Snov, and use outreach software. Some cheaper ones are actually BuzzStream and Outreach, which don't do a bad job. If you're doing it on a small basis, then use one of those for costs. So with our success rate, we basically get an average of 40% return rate from websites that we reach out to, so very high success rate. So as I said, don't do paid guest posts, because it's deemed as black hat and you're likely to get penalized. Approximately 5 to 10% of that big list that you've done will actually be interested in a guest post. Okay, this is kind of a LinkedIn strategy, which we have used before. It's mainly for very high authority domains. It's about collaborating on content. That's one sent by Nico, so I have a PR. So what we've covered is how to create a optimized, fast and secure website, customer personas, and conduct custom interviews, content marketing strategy from keyword selection through to awesome content creation, and how to consistently get guest posts from sites like HubSpot that boost your brand network and get you more customers. And now it's time for your panelists. Sorry, I rushed a bit at the end there because I'm slightly running over time, but I'll hand over to you now, Kieran, And
thanks for that, Nick. That was really insightful. As I think you mentioned in some of the emails and the messages that we sent out, there will be slides to be shared. So any of these takeaways, you'll be able to get them. So if you go ahead and fill out the survey towards the end of the, I guess the webinar, it then gives you an option to then go to the Google Slides link where you can have all these really useful slides. So yeah, thanks for joining us. And now we've got to welcome our panelists, Zhao and Sam. So these are two of our lovely clients. Zhao's the global head of lead gen over at Brightpearl, and Sam's a senior website optimization and user experience manager for EMEA and APAC over at RingCentral, which we do lovely work, as Nick's been presenting in the webinar. So we're going to kick things off with talking about, I guess, what's happening in the industry, any trends. So I might start with Zhao to start off with the first question. So what is the most interesting marketing trend in 2020, and how do you plan on taking advantage of it?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. So I think in what I've noticed in like the B2B or SaaS industry this year is the marketing is more and more targeted, or we can call it account-based marketing, ABM. This is not a new concept, but I can see more and more companies adopting this strategy. And also there are more and more technologies in the market to help B2B businesses to adopt this strategy, to use data to identify their ideal customers, and also use like intent data to target them at the right moment. So example, what we've done to adopt this strategy at Brightpearl is, for example, we used to do some retargeting campaigns on Google, just to retarget people who have been visited our website, but it didn't really work out very well because not that big percent of the web visitors were our ideal customers. So we changed strategy. Now we're using, so we have built a list of ideal companies that we want to work with. And we use a tool, it's a website like IP identification tool on the website to identify all the companies on our website. And if there's any company from our ideal customers list is on our website, our outbound team just directly reaches out to the company and starts the chat. So with this ABM strategy in mind, we just focus all our resources on the companies we want to talk and try to get more valuable customers in. And I think the other medium which is good for this account-based marketing is the podcast. Podcast is more and more popular as well in the B2B sector. And there are so many very niche podcast channels. And with this, based on the topics they talk about, you can easily, I think it's easier to know if the audience is your ideal customers or not. And yeah, I think that's the kind of the trends I've seen in the marketing. And another thing, I think it's not really marketing, is it's a trend in general in the B2B sector, is it's really crowded in this market, and which holds back companies from making any purchase decision. We recently did a retail tech stack report to understand the situation in this software market in retail, and it turned out that like half of retailers found there were just too many choices and they just couldn't really make any decision because they didn't have enough time and expertise. So in this case, I think it's very important for marketers to gain the trust of your ideal customers, prospects first, so that they will be willing to talk to you. Yeah, I think that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the podcast one, especially in the B2B industry, is definitely a big one that's been happening. Do you have any examples of any podcasts?
So we are doing a podcast for like every time we release a big report and we do a campaign, we'll try to find the niche podcasts in retail, which matches our ideal ICP, ideal customer profile. So we don't really work with a specific podcast. We just, every time we'll try to find the podcast which matches our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sam, similar question. What are the most interesting marketing trends for you that you've seen this year? And again, how do you plan on taking advantage of it?
Yeah, I think a lot of the same. Definitely, you know, ABM's becoming a bigger strategy. I think the challenge is to really understand your market and make sure, you know, if you're going to go after a really targeted account, you've got to make sure it's the right account you go after. So a lot of initial research needed. What I think there's kind of conflicting views. Personalization is a big thing that we're taking on at RingCentral. But yet there's reports out there that most marketers will drop personalization in the next few years. So I still see the value. I think you've got to create content for your target audience. And I think by personalizing it to them, it resonates with them better. So that's definitely a big trend. I also think like chat and conversational marketing is definitely on the up. Lots of people, you know, using chatbots now on their websites and actually building strategies around having it automated. So seeing a lot more of that coming up. I think we at RingCentral will both be taking advantage of ABMs and personalization, as well as a bit more conversational marketing.
Yeah, very good. I guess everything's changing recently, more so. But I mean, in terms of the biggest changes, maybe putting aside coronavirus and all those issues at the moment, maybe before that was happening, what are the biggest changes that you've seen for the sales process, I guess specifically for Saas, and that's, I guess, the time frame of in the last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will say it hasn't really changed. I think one of the biggest changes is going to be social selling. So actually like giving the power to the sales rep to go out and build their own leads and build their own network. That's something, again, we do at RingCentral. I think is very important. You got to position the rep as an expert and give them like the content, but let them go out and sort of do the work. In terms of like their actual process, I think we've automated more of it. So automated emails, you know, automated follow-ups, everything like that. And then we're probably just creating more hand-holding, creating more sales playbooks. So again, it goes into this personalization piece, but when we're running a campaign, we want to make sure that the follow-up from the rep matches the campaign. So if we've gone really personalized, we don't want the rep to then start talking about something completely different. So just more of these, you know, playbooks for reps and enabling them to talk about the campaign, how it's meant to be spoke about.
Okay, yeah, really good. Yeah, I think personalization in the sales process is definitely something that needs to be done, and is what a lot of companies don't do. So yeah. I think this one's probably to Jauna actually, and I probably might ask the same to you, Sam. Can you share any differences and almost real life examples of how you approach the digital marketing process for your different target customer groups?
Yeah, so what we've noticed with like different digital channels is the audience on different channels is pretty different actually. So for example, we've seen that the average order value from SEO traffic is much higher than from the paid traffic. So after talking to some bigger customers, we just realized that bigger customers, bigger enterprises customers, they are more inclined to do their product researches via broader keywords. So they kind of evaluate vendors based on their general knowledge about the industry first, not just about the product features. So it just happens more often that big companies, they came across our website through maybe a SEO article that we wrote about the industry trend, or a referral link on a third-party website. So the SEO is very important for us to track bigger companies. And also we've done a few tests on different like paid social channels, and compared to emailing as well. And we just found out that our audience reacted to like different paid social channels and emailing very differently. And LinkedIn is working better, the response rate is higher, and the emailing didn't really work out that well when we tried to speak to our ideal customers, just a cold, like kind of a cold lead. So yeah, I think there are definitely differences across different marketing channels, digital marketing channels, and based on your ideal customers, you kind of need to pick the most relevant channel for your marketing or sales process. I think you're muted.
Sorry, I was just saying I agree with that. And Sam, similarly for you, can you share any differences of how you approach the digital marketing process for, I guess, your different targeted customer groups again?
Yeah, I think we've had quite a big challenge because we serve like one user businesses all the way up to like 50,000 user businesses. So it definitely presents a challenge of trying to create a digital presence that works for all of them. Mm-hmm. Recently we tried actually like cementing and bifurcating the website. So if you're a small business, you'd go down one journey. If you're an enterprise, you'd go down the other. We've stopped that. So one thing we're doing is actually using technology now to try and take that out of, being the user's choice, and actually allowing the technology to start segmenting the website. Using some of the Adobe tools we've got, we're able to understand what people are looking at and then present the right content for them again. It's kind of personalization again. We're just sort of focused on trying to understand what they're looking at and then presenting that. I think from a like channels perspective, echo exactly the same message, where some channels are definitely more enterprise and definitely more at market, and the size of deal we get from SEO is higher than paid. So I think creating the right content for the right channel, making sure that if we're doing adverts, they're kind of targeted at the right people, making sure that we know Facebook is going to be more mass, and we know LinkedIn is going to be more enterprise. So just really using that, instead of blowing a load of money on LinkedIn for mass market, we'll spend the money on enterprise.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to break down different channels and all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. A bit off the process and the sales process, in terms of your SaaS products, and I'll ask you, Shao, how are you evolving your SaaS products this year?
Yeah, so our kind of product roadmap is based on the customers' feedback and also our product strategy, where we want the product to be in the near future. So this year we are focusing on the the reporting, analytics, and accounting side, because the data is just crucial for retailers for their business growth. And we see more and more businesses, they want a very powerful analytics module to help them understand their best sellers, best seasons, or flop products. So that's something that we are focusing on for our product. And also retailers, they need a very flexible system that can match their growth phases. So they might need new features that can be plugged into Brightpearl. So we've been expanding, working on our technology partners network to build high performance integrations, so that retail businesses, they can just easily connect Brightpearl to another integration, but at the same time, they can still have all the core functionality in one system.
I think even for any integrations, there's always good when you can integrate various different products together. So yeah. And similarly, Sam, for you, how are you evolving your SaaS products this year?
Yeah, I think we invest heavily in R&D, so I think it's around 20% per year of our revenue goes into R&D. I think what you'll see is over the last few years, RingCentral have made numerous acquisitions and bought some technology, and it's really just aligning all that technology now into one platform. Pretty much now we're in a position where however you want to communicate, if you want to communicate with a business via a social channel or via phone or via chat, we're able to provide a solution. So I think you'll just see more and more coming. I do expect with the recent change and the climate at the moment, there is a key focus on people working remotely and working from home. So although our product is already enabled for that, I feel like we'll start to double down and maybe slightly change our strategy to make sure we're positioned correctly for situations like this.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, with everything that's happening at the moment as well, work from home is an absolute must. Is the only thing really for a lot of businesses. So yeah. I guess just to wrap it up and to end on a positive note, I'll ask you both the same question. Zhao, can you share a success story, maybe in this role or even previous roles, and something that you learned from it? So basically something that went from an idea to planning to execution, and you basically just nailed it.
Yeah, sure. I think the most successful story with Brightpearl so far is I grew the inbound pipeline by 58% the first year when I joined the company, and improved the acquisition cost by 39%. So what I've learned from this is we needed to really align our marketing activities to the company's goal. So our goal has been the sales opportunities, not just top funnel book demo leads. So when I joined the company, I just realized that we were spending money on different channels like PPC, social ads, or even email blasts, campaigns, everything, without really understanding the kind of the value of each channel. So I looked at all the historical data and understand the current situation when I joined the company, and I just decided we needed to focus all the budget on the bottom funnel first, because we didn't even make the most out of the bottom funnel. And it was probably the best channel for the moment to grow the pipeline. So I've stopped doing loads of top funnel campaigns. I moved all the money to PPC first, and also did all the landing pages to improve the conversion rate. And we've been always aware that SEO is really important, but we didn't really have the internal resource for that. So at that time, what we did is, instead of doing SEO to increase the traffic, we did first the conversion rate optimization. So at least we could make sure that the traffic we brought to the website could be converted into the sales funnel. So we improved the conversion rate on SEO. We almost doubled the conversion rate. But then after making all the bottom funnels right, we just decided to ramp up on SEO. So now we are working with you guys to get more relevant traffic to make SEO even works better for us.
And that's what some of the presentation would cover points of. So yeah, thanks for that, Zhao. Thanks for joining us. Sam, same to you. Can you share a success story and something that you learned from it as well?
Yeah, I think so. Last year we spent a lot of time like organizing our conversion rate optimization strategy and making it a bit more official, and sort of planning tests, the number of tests we were going to run, but also sort of planning the strategy behind them instead of just ad hoc testing. And we ended up with a much higher win rate, which I was trying to just find the actual percentage, but it was we run 14 big conversion tests last year, and we run 5 personalization tests, and the win rate was at 68%. So I think in previous years we'd sort of run ad hoc tests and thought about, we'll change this, we'll change that, we'll move a button. Whereas last year, for the whole of 2019, we really concentrated on big tests and doing big wins. And Nick's pulling up a page for me. And during that, we found that it's definitely helped us. We've seen a much higher LTV coming off of our pages now, and I think the learnings from that is it's definitely good to plan and have a strategy. Even if you adapt that strategy and you are agile, it's just good to have some kind of guidelines of what you're going to work on and work towards that for a longer period instead of just month by month targets. Another win, because Nick's pulled it up, I do have to say our SEO traffic has gone up by about 40% in like 5 months. So I think, we've got a big strategy now to invest more into organic. We've managed to be successful to where we are currently with paid, but I think, we're starting to top out on Google now, so we have to start investing in organic and more top of the funnel content. So yeah, this page just went from nothing to a lot of traffic overnight. It took it's a nice hockey stick graph that I like to look at every day.
Yeah. All right, perfect, guys. I think there's been some really good takeaways, and unfortunately we do have to wrap up. So I appreciate Zhao and Sam joining us for the panel, and also Nick presenting. I know there's a few questions that we haven't got to answer, but I'll try to get to them after the webinar. As always, if anybody wants to have a discussion around some of the work that we've done for our previous clients or existing clients, or even the presentation, feel free to get in touch with myself, Phil, or Nick. And thank you all for joining us. We'll be doing these quite regularly now, so we're looking at probably around 2 or 3 per month. So there'll be more sort of engaging content to send out. So yeah, check out our website, and we'll share this with everyone after the call.
Don't forget to fill out the review form at the end.
And the survey form. That would allow you to get the slides as well.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.